Welcome to Lesson 2 in Unit 6, Seeds, Sprouts, and Sunshine. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, what can we learn from observing plant growth? In the previous lesson, students explored where a seed comes from, what it becomes, and what the parts of a seed are. In this lesson, students germinate a variety of seeds and observe how they grow and respond to external inputs. Students figure out that young plants look alike, but not exactly like their parents. Plants have some parts in common, such as roots, stems, and leaves, and that plants can respond to light and water. This lesson will take 4 days plus monitoring time while the seeds grow. To begin, ask students, have you ever watched a plant grow from a seed? What did it look like? Have you ever seen sunflowers? What about corn stalks? What did they look like? How tall were they? Have your students think, pair, share. In the Explore portion of this lesson, students will sprout a variety of seeds over a period of 10 days. Note that once the seeds have been put into baggies and students are observing their growth over the next 2 weeks, you will still continue on with the next mySci lessons. Refer to the lesson plans in the teacher guide for more guidance on how to pace this activity. Demonstrate the following process. Fold a paper towel so it fits across the bottom and up 2/3 of a plastic sandwich bag. Place it in the bag, run a row of staples across the bag 1 inch, about 1 thumb lengths, from the bottom, and add just enough water to moisten the towel. Add 3 pinto bean seeds, 3 sunflower seeds, and 3 popcorn seeds to the bag. Have each student set up a seed bag according to your example. Organize materials by having one student distribute bags while another student distributes paper towels. You should consider setting up a station where students can staple bags, add water, and write their names using the permanent marker. Have another station where students can add the 3 kinds of seeds. Students can tape the bags to the wall. Regular classroom light should be sufficient for growth. Taping to the window can be a problem if it is too hot or too cold outside. Teachers, remember that the explain, elaborate, and evaluate portions of this lesson may not be completed until 10 days after the plants have sprouted. It is okay to move on to the next lessons while students observe their plants growing. As the plants sprout and grow, have students observe and verbally describe how they change in appearance from seed to sprout to seedling. You may want to chart their observations on chart paper. After 10 days of growth, use the Plant Growth Observations sheet found on student pages 5 through 7 and Day 10 Growth Observations found on student page 8 to record quantitative and qualitative observations. As students draw the young plants, encourage them to draw all parts they see, such as the roots, stems, and leaves. Ask students to point out each part to you. Teacher guidance for this growth observations activity is provided on teacher page 6. Have students use Unifix cubes or another math manipulative with standard length to measure one seedling of each type. Remember, we have corn, sunflower, and bean. Students will color in how many cubes it took to measure each seedling on student page 8. Next, have students answer the 2 questions on the bottom of student page 8. Sometimes it can be difficult to compare the 3 seedling lengths if they do not all sprout or if they do not grow evenly. If this is the case, you could have students measure whichever seedlings grew and compare their length, but make a class bar chart how many each type seed sprouted. They could then turn and talk to compare which type of seed sprouted the most or the least. After students draw the young plants, show them these pictures of the older parent plants for each type of seed so they can draw what the adult plant looks like. You could also kinesthetically model how tall adult sunflower and corn plants are to give students a sense of how much taller they are than the sprouts. For reference, sunflowers are about 8 feet tall and corn is about 12 feet tall. Students could link hands to show this. After drawing each type of plant, have them compare the young and adult plants. You could make a chart paper T-chart of the similarities and differences. Students should notice that they are alike, but not exactly alike. They may have similar leaf shapes, but the adult plants are bigger, have more or bigger leaves, have flowers or fruits, and often have thicker stems. Next, read From Seed to Plant. The Read Aloud Guide is on teacher page 5. This book will be briefly revisited in Lesson 3. In the Elaborate, you will use the growing bean plants from Lesson 1 in order to show that plants can respond to external inputs. Ask students, do you think plants can move? Allow students to turn and talk to share their ideas. Say to students, let's observe how the leaves are turned outwards towards the grow light. What would happen if I turned the plant in a different direction? Allow for student responses. Rotate the plants so that the leaves are now facing away from the light. Wait a day or so to see if the leaves or stems have bent towards the light again. If students are having trouble visualizing this, you can also show this video of corn seedlings. Ask students, what questions do you have about what we observe? Why did the plants move? Finally, ask students, what parts do all of the plants we've observed have in common? How do the younger baby plants compare to the older adult plants? Chart student responses, which may include, they have roots, stems, and leaves. They are all green. They have similar shaped leaves. They are different sizes. The younger plants have fewer leaves and no flowers or fruit. Ask students, what have we figured out in this lesson that can help us answer our questions about our phenomenon of the plant growing? They may respond that the plant was probably a bean plant because it had similar leaves to the bean plants we planted. The plant was wiggling or moving in the video because it was reaching towards the light. The roots spread out in soil to find the water, and the young plant looks different than the adult plant. In the optional Extend activity, students can use a shoebox to illustrate even more clearly that plants can respond to external inputs. This experiment, which requires a shoebox or other cardboard box, will show a plant moving left and right in order to finally reach the light in a cutout hole at the top of the box. For this to work, the box must be closed off from light except for the opening at the top, and the plant must have obstacles to get around. By the end of this lesson, students will have germinated a variety of seeds to observe how they grow and respond to external inputs. Students figured out that young plants look alike, but not exactly like their parents. Plants have some parts in common, such as roots, stems, and leaves. Plants can respond to light and water. This lesson provided observational data to support the next lesson on plant structure and function.